Joining me now is Anni Cyrus, who is highly featured in the documentary. I don't think she's in this part, but she's highly featured in my documentary Siege, is Anni Cyrus. Anni, welcome back to the program. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me back. But if you think I can talk as fast as you can, unless I'm talking Farsi, that's not happening.
Well, I'm trying to cram a lot in so I can get to the hour and 26 minutes before I run out of time. I have to go to Diamond and Silk. Let's talk about some very disturbing news. We've been warning about these 700 plus people that were handpicked, that are missing. All of these thousands of people brought in from Afghanistan. They were allowed into the airport by Taliban. They were handpicked, many of them were told by Taliban, to get onto the airplanes to come to America. And now we have 700 of them that have gone missing. We don't know where these guys are. Many of them military-age fighters. And we've been warning they could be potential jihadis or terrorists. And you have a source that is giving you some information. What is the breaking news tonight, Anni?
Well, it seems like even though we were already aware that Taliban has picked some of these young men who got on the planes and came to America, and most likely include those 700 who are missing, but also there are two other groups, Hamas and also Hezbollah soldiers were sent in during the evacuation in Afghanistan. So as of 2 days ago, when Islamic Republic of Iran went ahead and gave the call to action to Hezbollah members in Afghanistan to start marching, the same call went to those Hezbollah members who were transferred under asylum to America as well. So now we have Hezbollah members, Hamas members, and Taliban members running around our streets without us even knowing who they are or where they are.
So you're telling me now that some of these people that got here, we now know they're not just Taliban, they're actually Hamas.
Yes, and Hezbollah.
Hezbollah and Hamas. All right, let's talk about that. Now, Hamas, Muslim Brotherhood was started in 1928 by Albania. 1994, CARE, the Council on Islamic Foreign Relations, was started. I cannot remember. What was it, 1987 that the terrorist wing Hamas was started?
I would not know the answer to that question. I'm sorry. Because
I used to have the timeline. CARE, or Muslim Brotherhood, 1928. I think Hamas, 1987, and CARE. So Muslim Brotherhood, 1928. Hamas, 1987, and CARE, 1994. I think that's the timeline. But they're all connected, aren't they, Anni?
Well, that's the thing. The reason I wouldn't be able to answer that is Hezbollah was created before Hamas. Hamas became the child group of Hezbollah. Now, Hezbollah was created by Islamic Republic of Iran's regime, or IRGC, basically.
Okay, I'm right. Hamas was founded. Hamas was founded in 1987. But what you're saying is that Hamas is connected back to Hezbollah.
Yes, it literally at the beginning it was a child group to Hezbollah. And I know Google and a lot of scholars are going to disagree with this, but that's all right. I learned about this back home in Iran. But sorry, I had to say that. Hezbollah was created by IRGC, which is Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, that was created by Ayatollah Khomeini back in the time when he invaded Iran. Hezbollah was created, and then a child group of Hamas, which then later on, basically Hamas started concentrating on, Israel and just attacking Gaza border and Israel. But originally it wasn't built for that purpose. So they're all basically one chain. Well, let's be honest. All of the Islamic terror groups are one group because they're all fighting for Allah and Muhammad. But I'm saying the Hezbollah and Hamas are backed by Islamic Republic of Iran's regime. Now, when I heard the news of Hezbollah's members being activated in Afghanistan, well, I wasn't surprised because I called it a while ago. I said, Iran's going to try to step in and control Afghanistan. And I don't mean they're going to overthrow Taliban. No, they're going to work with Taliban to keep Taliban in power to control the country. So that didn't surprise me. But when I heard that some of them were sent in during the evacuation, let's put it this way. I literally called in a favor to a friend and got fence around my house. Like I fenced up my house.
And the reason why, of course, you have 11 fatwas on your head for the stuff you've been saying about Islam and Iran, right?
Yes.
And if some of these people that are here that have now gone missing, that came over thanks to Biden, are Hezbollah. That means they're working for Iran, which means we've already been warned. We've already read reports a few weeks ago about Iran particularly targeting Iranian dissidents here in the U.S. That you would be an Iranian dissident, but we've already heard about them targeting another Iranian journalist, right?
Correct. And that's the thing. I believe the reason they're sending Hezbollah in is IRGC failed. The 4 men who were indicted on that plot of kidnapping ended up being indicted. So they had to send in their top dog, if you call it that. That's why Hezbollah soldiers are in.
So, and this is to be added to the Hezbollah terror cells that are Iranian. Remember, folks, Hezbollah is Iran. So Iranian terror cell, Hezbollah, they're already here. One reason we know they're already here, this is not speculation. We know they're here due to federal courts and federal trials that have already been held related to Hezbollah members here in the U.S. So many of these Hezbollah members, this is a terror cell of Iran, they're here, and many of them are just waiting on orders to be activated, correct?
Very much. Well, to be honest, I think they are already activated because the call to the soldiers in Afghanistan to be active was released today is Wednesday? No, Thursday, 4 days ago. So I would strongly believe the same time they got the call too.
Now, what was activated 4 days ago?
The Hezbollah members inside Afghanistan were called, the call to action to be active was released 4 days ago. So 4 days ago, they were given the order to start marching and helping Taliban organize and keep Kabul under control.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. So when we've been warning about another terrorist attack coming, what you're saying is it seems like they're moving people into place.
Exactly. This is if you would look really closely the way I am, you would see that the way everything is being aligned and put in place, the next September 11 is coming. Now, where is it? We don't know because we don't even know where these people are, thanks to, Biden administration. But the movement between Pakistan, Afghanistan's Taliban, Al-Qaeda, and Hezbollah and their members inside America, it's all lining up to the same pattern, except we are not seeing it because the current administration is looking away. But me and you, we see it. It's aligning.
So while Hezbollah, and you trust this source of yours?
Absolutely.
And if you know this and your source knows this, my guess is our government knows this, right?
I would say so, yes.
And so while the FBI should be looking for these guys, they're busy worrying about moms and targeting moms, the FBI, through the Justice Department, who are complaining about critical race theory, mandating vaccines and masks, and then, XXX curriculum and books are being promoted in their schools. So this is who the FBI is going to go after now, America's moms. And apparently they have zero interest in Hamas running around the U.S. country land.
Pretty much, yes. Well, let's look at it. They should be worried about moms because, they have made the deal. We know Biden administration has a deal with Islamic terror. They do. And anybody who wants to debate that, I'm up for it. You don't run away from Afghanistan the way Biden did, then you don't bring Afghanistan to America. If you missed it, last night, Brannon Howse had Daniel Greenfield on. Go find the episode on Frank's speech and watch it. Part of Wisconsin is turning into Afghanistan, right, Brannon?
Yeah, that's right. And if it's not up, it'll be up tonight. I think I'm a little behind on sending you some titles for some videos so you can get them posted up there for us. But yeah, that's what we talked about. That was his article, Daniel Greenfield at frontpagemag.com. They're turning Wisconsin into Afghanistan, which is really ironic because of the 58 terrestrial stations. And for the younger folks, terrestrial stations is AM and FM. Of course, they tell them that. They still don't know what's AM and FM. But anyway, terrestrial radio is AM, FM stations. And the 58 stations I'm on every day, 1 to 2, and of course it airs as a TV show here. But those 58 stations, I blanket Wisconsin because the network I'm on is in Wisconsin. So I have been traveling to Wisconsin, speaking in Wisconsin, holding conferences in Wisconsin. I have some of my biggest support in the state of Wisconsin. And I am getting a lot of emails from people that are living there, that are worried, and then I'm getting emails from folks that are living near Fort McCoy, and they're starting to tell me what's going on the ground there at Fort McCoy.
And that's the thing. Again, It's that argument. We left Afghanistan. Not a good idea, not the way we did it, fine. But why are we bringing Afghanistan to America? 60,000 Afghan refugees out of 16,000, about 18,000 of them were either already American citizens or they helped the military. The remaining 50,000, 51,000, bunch of unknown Afghans. Supposedly, I saw pictures where in front of plane, the couple sitting on the right side of the picture were Palestinian. They weren't even Afghans.
How can you tell? How can you tell?
Oh, it's the whole kind of the uniform outfit that each country has its own. Do you recall when Rashida Tlaib has this scarf? It's like a black and white check. It's called chaffier. And that is a very proud symbol of Palestinians that they were.
And that's what Yasser Arafat used to run around wearing, right?
Exactly. So when you look at this couple, it's a husband, wife, and their little son in front of them. Her hijab is a chaffier, and he is wearing one around his neck.
So that means he's Palestinian. He's not even Afghani.
Exactly. And there are so many other faces. As a Middle Eastern, I can point and say, okay, that face is not Afghan. That's a Pakistani face. They're not all Afghan anyways, but how do we know there wasn't any questions, right? Come on in, hold on, go to the base. Few weeks later, gate opens, you leave.
So let me catch this straight. You could have Pakistan, Pakistan, Iran, Afghanistan. You could have all of these groups working together and say, all right, now get all your terror cells, get your biggest and baddest dudes in place, because here's what the Biden administration is about to do. And you know they had advance warning, because that's just how dirty this administration is. Get all your people in place, your baddest dude, your dirty dozen, if you will, or your dirty, multi-dozen, and we're going to get them into the airport, have them at the airport on this day, this time, and we're going to get them on the planes and send them over here. Something doesn't feel right. Something here doesn't feel right if we have these people getting into the airport, getting onto the planes, and now they've gone missing, but they're also coming from so many different countries. Something doesn't feel right.
Exactly. That's why I say if you look at it, the pieces are lining up to the next attack. There's allies. I talked about the alliance of, if you remember a few weeks ago when I was on, I talked about Iran, Pakistan, Russia, and China alignment with Taliban. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I want to read you something real quick. So this was published on Afghan International. I don't know if anybody can see. You can go look at it yourself. Today, United Nations Human Rights Council agreed to send a human rights UN reporter to Afghanistan. They had a vote going on. 5 countries voted no. Don't send a reporter to check on human rights. Countries were China, Russia, Pakistan, Venezuela, and Iran.
Wow.
Why would China not want a human rights reporter in Afghanistan? Or Iran, or Pakistan, or Venezuela? Listen, lovely audience of Frank's Speech, Lindell TV, listen to the names of countries I'm saying. And then remember everything Brannon Howse has been telling you about these countries. Venezuela, China, Pakistan, Russia, Iran.
They're all in military alliance together.
And they all would love to take America down.
And we know from Mike Pompeo, when he was the CIA director, we have a video of him on with Chris Wallace saying that in Venezuela, you have Hezbollah, China, Russia, Iran, all in Venezuela. Caracas, northern Venezuela, about 1,264 miles as the crow flies to Miami. And no telling what they've been smuggling in there and bringing into there. But these people are all lined up. You're absolutely right. They're in military alliance. They're working together. And they don't want any human rights reports because they don't want you to know what they're really doing on the ground over there.
Exactly. They don't want anybody to know. But isn't it, do you see how they're getting bolder since Biden?
Yeah,
They're bold enough to say no. I mean, 14 countries decided to not vote at all. Abstenting. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that properly. So they decided to neither say yes or no.
Abstained, yep.
Abstain. But these 5 countries made sure to stand up and say no. That's bold.
Indeed it is. All right, keep us posted. This is very troubling breaking news from Annie tonight, which is that some of these folks have come into the U.S. Her source, which she cannot divulge, of course, her source is saying they're not just Taliban. Some of them are actually also Hezbollah, but also Al-Qaeda, right?
Hamas.
Hamas. Are any of them Al-Qaeda?
Nope.
Huh?
No, they're not.
So just Hamas and any other group?
Hezbollah, Hamas, and Taliban.
Okay. Hezbollah, Hamas.
However, you should always keep in mind when we say Taliban or Al-Qaeda or ISIS-K, we're talking about the same group.
Okay. Okay. Your name is on the screen. Your website's on the screen. Liveuptofreedom.com. Liveuptofreedom.com. Right, Annie?
Yes, liveuptofreedom.com.
Thank you for the update and keep us posted, will you?
Will do for sure. Thank you. And please, everybody, watch your back and be very, very vigilant. If something doesn't feel right, trust your feelings.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Annie. All right. Breaking news tonight from Annie Cyrus. We sure appreciate that.